Welcome to the University of Montreal campus, my alma mater. That's right, folks. I do have a university diploma. So I'm bringing you guys here to this campus because of the beautiful view that there is at night. So we're going to take a nice, slow, long, but wonderful walk upstairs. Now, as you can see, in a moment, I'll try not to show the people that are coming out of the metro as much as I can. So that's the entrance to the metro, and that is the main pavilion. You might see it quite often in shots of the city, and that is, yes, the University of Montreal. So if I wanted to, I could have walked up to, I could have used the metro, I should say, to go up to the top, but I won't do that. These are what's called the Big C stands. That's a project that started a few years ago here in Montreal, where it's basically a bicycle rental program. So basically, you can rent a bicycle for the day, the weekend, etc. It's a whole program. And that's the other entrance of the metro. A much more fancy-pantsy entrance. But this one is more, if you're not taking the metro, I should say. The other one is if you're coming from the metro. This one, if you're just coming from the street. And again, I could take this entrance if I wanted to and take the elevators up, but I won't do that. And another view of the main pavilion. Now I'm going to take the much slower but much more beautiful walk up through the forested area that they left. So you can see the path by there. And this little play part here is, as you can see, called Place Léopold Sédar Senghor. I'm going to translate what it is written. So he was born in 1906, passed away in 2001. This was inaugurated in 2006, 26th of April. He was a politician, poet, and writer from Senegal. And he was the first president of the country from 1960 to 1980. And he had a big publication that was very important. And they said that he personified the modern day francophonie, which is the French culture and French language being of importance, the values of that in modern words. So that's why they named it after him. Anyways, we'll start or continue our walk. So of course more bike stands if you have already your own bike. And as you can see, people here overall are very trusting. Although crime does happen in Montreal like it does in any major city. It's normal. I'm not going to try to pretend like Montreal is perfect and innocent and nothing ever bad happens here. People do have their bikes stolen, things like that. As you can see here, people are having a picnic and they have their barbecue out. And it is legal in Montreal to have barbecues in certain parks under certain conditions and to drink beer at the park as well. Again, if you're over 21 and you have to have a meal while you're drinking. So you can't just show up with a can of beer, get pissy ass drunk and do whatever. So you do have to be eating and everything else. So you can see we have these little signs and stuff, and obviously it's too dark for me to read them, but that's fine. But we have obviously some indigenous fauna and flora here in Montreal. So obviously they're trying to describe, and it's also part of probably some of the agricultural programs or related programs that are trying to promote basically Montrealers to get reconnected with nature and getting more information. So obviously it's getting a lot darker, a lot faster, so we might miss the actual sunset, but it's still a nice view even at night. Now, the University of Montreal is on Mount Royal, which is of course almost dead center in the island. Where I live is in the northwest part of Mount Royal, and as you can see, obviously you'll find the University of Montreal, but you'll also find in walking distance from here the St. Joseph Oratory as well. That will be another visit for another time. It's probably closed to the public at this point, so I won't be able to go show you guys that right here, but that will be for another time. And to the south of Mount Royal, you have downtown. Okay, it's really the whole southern part of Mount Royal. Mount Royal Park is of course on top of Mount Royal, and on the eastern part is basically Plateau Mont-Royal. So this is a little steep, so I'll go quiet because I'm going to be out of breath. I'm out of shape, so this is some good exercise. But I'll be quiet for a while I catch up my breath. And I'll obviously be going slowly. yes. So I'm going to take a little break here. We're almost at the top. But as you can hear, I'm really out of breath. I'm really out of shape. I miss the gym. Oh. And here we are at the top. A few years ago, I did come here to see the famous blood moon. I did get really good shots. I believe on my Flickr, for anyone and everyone who's interested, there is that available. So this is the other side of the main pavilion, but there is about, I believe, 15 to 20 different pavilions in the main campus. There are 2 or 3 new ones that they recently built to eventually replace some of the buildings, because the university is a fairly old university. It's been around since the 1950s, so it's been here for a while. So a lot of these buildings have been around for 50, 60, 70 years. So they're, of course, not state of the art. And for some of the departments or faculties, that is a no-go. They obviously want to have modern equipment and buildings and so forth. So you can see there's some people that had the same idea as me. And you have also another little section here that we could have gone to, but we'll come here. So we'll continue down a little bit. And as you can see, we'll stop here for a second so I can catch my breath, and then we'll continue. Check the moon. Alright, we'll continue. So a lot of my classes were in this main pavilion, but for the most part this building is the science building. So if you were in medicine or other science like chemistry, biology, chances are you had, especially this part of it, like these two parts, the left, what would be my left or your right, would be the science and medicine. And social science was over there, but again, since I graduated, they have changed things up. I think my department is now not even on the main campus, because you do have a few pavilions that are not on the main campus, but they're nearby. And since my department is very small, they felt it was going to take it up unnecessary space. So this is the famous tower that we often see in some photographs of the Montreal, and then the two exits on either side for the metro. But this is the pavilion that you'll often see in shots of Montreal, especially if it's a shot of Mount Royal itself. So you can see a lot of people come here. There's a few people here already. People come here just to sit down, relax. Like you saw down before, there was a nice little picnic table. So here we have a beautiful view of Montreal. So this is a view of the north part of Montreal. So this is not downtown. So this is why you don't have skyscrapers and things like that in the view. This is the northern part of Montreal that we're seeing, and consequently far back we're seeing Laval, and then further back what we call the North Shore. So basically anything to the northern part of Montreal. So basically that skyline is that. All right. Now, in the continuation of the rest of my video that I'm going to attach to this, part of the reason why I wanted to bring you guys here with me is not just so that you guys can see the beautiful view that we have here when you are a student of the university, or like you see with me and several other people, people can just walk up and enjoy the view at night, during the day, whatever. But it also has a program of what's called l'art public, or public art. All the universities, in fact, most organizations that are publicly run either in totality or in part, which is the case for all four major universities that are found on the island of Montreal. They're all government funded, so they're all required to have a certain amount of quote-unquote non-profit activities. So basically with University of Montreal, that's going to be another video. I'm going to show you guys what's called the Centre de l'Exposition, which is an art gallery that is run by the university, staffed by students of the university, but also feature students' works. So it's in particular, I should say, students from the architecture department, but it can feature students from other departments as well. So they'll exhibit their works or projects that they put together. So that'll be part of their credited program, right? And that is open to the public, while the art public is artwork that we, the public, as well as students, staff of the university, can go to, obviously during business hours. So right now some of these works are not going to be accessible since it's part of like within the building, right? So they might be in the sections that are closed off. So basically from 8 to 5 essentially is when I would recommend that you would come to the university to visit the public art, because that's when you'll see access to all of the works. There's about 30-40 works that are on the university campus, most of this on the main pavilions, including this big one here that's obviously, as you can see, partly being renovated, but in the other pavilions as well. But they'll, most of them will be here or nearby, okay? And that's what's going to be seen in the next portion of this video. And then, like I said, in a separate video, I'm going to show you guys the Centre de l'Exposition. And all the universities have that mandate to have a certain amount of art or projects or whatever that is open to the public. And also they often try to integrate students and staff of the university. So for McGill, that would be the Red Path Museum. So it's the nature museum, basically. So think a night at the museum is that kind of nature museum. Okay, now all these universities, I say it's free to enter. The Red Path Museum does require, let me rephrase that. That's not that it requires, but it recommends a donation as an entrance fee. So you're technically not obligated to pay that fee, but it's recommended. So sort of like this, I keep forgetting that museum that's featured in the Night of the Museum. When you look at the price, it says donation. So you're not technically obligated to pay. But of course, most people don't do that or are embarrassed, and they just pay the entrance fee. So you don't have to, but obviously, it's always the right thing to do, right? And then you have UQAM. So that's how we pronounce it here, UQAM. So University of Quebec in Montreal. They have an art gallery within their campus. And Concordia also has an art gallery within their campus. So here we are. This is the next following part where, as you can see, this is one of the artwork that is part of the Art Public on the University of Montreal campus. So it's really a part of the university's goal to have all these artworks available to the public for them to see. I'll be putting up on screen in a moment the name of this artwork. So this is one of them. And it was done by Monsieur Réal del Sparte, or Parte. I'm not too sure what the last word there says. But I will, like I said, put all that information up shortly. So basically all throughout the campus, you have all these different artworks that are available. Some, as you can see, will be outside of the campus. Some of them will be inside. So we'll be moving on to the next one. Like I said, there's about 30 to 45 of these artworks throughout the university. Like I said, most of them are going to be outside, but you will have a few that will be inside or that are integrated as part of the architecture. So as you can see, we're walking up to the next one. I'm just going to lower the camera not to have people's faces on it. And oftentimes the artwork will be related in some way, shape, or form to the pavilion. Basically, each pavilion is a department or faculty. Although here in the University of Montreal, there's basically 3 faculties for the most part. One of them is the Faculty of Theology. So if you get a BA or Master's or even PhD in theology, your BA, Master's, or PhD will say BA of Theology, Master's, PhD, whatever. And I believe the other is Arts and Science, and then Law. I believe those are the 3. Now things might have changed since I graduated, but back in the day, that's what it was. So this is the title of this one. It's actually untitled. It's by Robert Roussel, who, as you can see, was born in 1925. So as you can see, nice big one. They let the vines grow onto it. So you basically could spend your day going through the campus, both inside and outside, figuring out all these different statues and where they are. I will also include somewhere either in this video or in the description the link to the map of all the artworks. So for those of you who want to come to Montreal or who are living in Montreal who want to see these artworks, you're more than welcome to click that link and to, of course, visit and see. So this is another one, a little acorn looking one. This is a nice little one. So I'll try to get some more information and put that into the description or on the image of the item. So let's see, compared, this is the next morning or next afternoon after yesterday. So the video of night was of course last night. Now I'm taking you guys here during the day. So this is what the view looks like of the University of Montreal during the day. So as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see the river in the back there. So that's basically what's differentiating the island of Montreal and Laval. And then further down, of course, you have the North Shore. It's another part of the University of Montreal. Now I don't have the full map, and if the weather permits me over this weekend, I do, because I did go through a few of the statues and the route of all of them. But when I went, the university was closed already, so a lot of the paintings or sculptures or what have you that were inside the building, I was not able to see them. So I'll try to go earlier, especially since my battery is dead and I'm not able to call up the map of all the different locations of the different sculptures. I believe, you see, this is one of the parking lots. One of the sculptures is, or paintings, I believe it's a mural, is in one of these garages. So basically you can spend the day visiting the University of Montreal like this and going from building to building, checking out the different sculptures and checking out the beautiful view. Even though the weather today started off looking a lot nicer, but I guess the clouds decided to kick in and give us a more somber mood. Of course, I don't know if you guys can see the pollen in the air, but there's lots of pollen. So if you have allergies, definitely be aware of that. Montreal has quite a lot of flowering plants, so if you're allergic to that kind of stuff, you definitely want to be wary. So there's a nice little section here where you can go down, and as you can see, go into the other section. So you know what? Yeah, we'll go down. There's a nice little other section, and we'll continue to explore. And I'll be adding some of the photos I've taken of the University of Montreal, the whole route that they have. So as you can see, you can go and do different things here. So obviously, since COVID, things have changed a bit. A lot of the activities that you would expect to happen here didn't, which is unfortunate, but obviously understandable. Let me see, they're doing some construction here. You did have, I believe, one or two artworks here as well, but as you can see, because they're constructing, it's not going to be there. So alright, so I'm going to go back up actually, and we're going to go a different route, because didn't realize the construction was that much, but it happens. So the video will be shorter than I was hoping it to be, but it's okay. It happens, but hopefully the construction will be over when you guys decide to come and visit. And hopefully this whole series of what you can do in Montreal is interesting. And even if you're not able to do this particular thing, hopefully you're able to do one of the other suggestions that I make for the island of Montreal and surrounding areas ideally as well. So that's it for now, guys. Have a great day.